For our business award, Heather Bell. For over 30 years, Heather Bell has been making an important contribution to the field of aviation in the vital area of air traffic control. With her roots in British Columbia, Heather moved on from Simon Fraser University, ultimately to a job for a mining company in northern BC. Well, when the mine closed, Heather, who had no background in aviation, serendipitously answered an ad for a federal job posting for air traffic control. The rest, they say, is history. In 1983, Heather attended the Transport Canada Training Institute in Cornwall, Ontario, and began her career as an air traffic controller. She worked as an operational VFR controller before moving to the Radar Center and the start of her IFR career. Demonstrating perseverance and courage, Heather rose steadily through NAV Canada's ranks, first becoming one of the youngest supervisors in the Area Control Center and becoming the first female to do so. Heather then moved into project management before becoming a manager of ACC operations and finally becoming general manager of the Flight Information Region. Heather's high level of skill in planning, coordination, and collaboration showed in complex projects such as the following: the multi-million-dollar two-year project to transfer the Vancouver Air Traffic Control Center from Richmond to Surrey, BC seamlessly, earned Heather and her team the NAV Canada Chairman's Award of Excellence. Heather led the planning and implementation of a multi-million-dollar project to redesign the airspace in the BC Lower Mainland, thus improving operational safety and efficiency. Heather's team was awarded NAV Canada's President's Award for Excellence. Heather was also named Surrey Businesswoman of the Year. And for the 2010 Olympic Games, working in conjunction with the FAA, the RCMP Integrated Security Unit, the Canadian military, and the Vancouver Airport Authority, Heather and her team oversaw the implementation of critical new and enhanced air traffic control services needed for the Games. Heather's project team was recognized with the President's Award for Excellence. In 2006, Heather became the manager of the Area Control Center, responsible for planning and controlling the use of human, financial, and material resources required for the provision of safe, efficient, and cost-effective air navigation services across the Vancouver Flight Information Region. By 2009, Heather had become General Manager, Flight Information Region for the province of British Columbia, and rose to meet the daily challenges of managing the safe and efficient provision of all air navigation services for a portion of Canada's busiest and most demanding airspace. As General Manager FIR, Heather was responsible for over 500 employees in 22 units, the Area Control Center, a Flight Information Center, 11 flight service stations, and 9 control towers. Heather retired from NAV Canada in 2016, but continues to be active in the world of aviation. She sits as the board chair of the British Columbia Aviation Council, is a board member of the Aviation Leadership Foundation, and is the director of operations for a new airline in the startup phase designed to bring international visitors to Indigenous cultures in British Columbia. Heather's post-retirement consulting services have been in demand with clients such as McDonald Detweiler, the Vancouver Airport Authority, and the Greater Toronto Airport Authority, plus many others. With a focus on continuous learning, Heather has recently attained her Chartered Director designation from McMaster University's DeGroote School of Business. Heather and her husband Brent lead an active life of sports and travel. She's intensely proud of her 2 children, Jocelyn, with her career with the social media management company Hootsuite, and Carson in first-year law at UBC. For her energy, drive, and long-term commitment to the crucial field of air traffic control and aviation, Heather Bell is the recipient of our Business Award. Ladies and gentlemen, Heather Bell, and presenting her trophy is Neil Wilson, President and CEO of NAV Canada, where Heather worked for several years.
Thanks very much. I would like to echo the sentiments that have been said before me from these great women that are up on the stage, to say that I am both honored and humbled to be standing before you tonight. As I watched the video presentations of the past winners, I have to say that I'm also a little bit embarrassed that this is the first year that I'm attending these awards, because certainly I should have been here before. And I did promise my good friend Kirsten that I would try to come every year from now on. I do have to.
Joy's happy.
Yes, you can count on my support.
Okay.
I do have to thank COPA, the Canadian Owners and Pilots Association, for their gracious nomination. It's the reason that I'm standing before you today. And also, of course, the Northern Lights Aero Foundation, not only for this fabulous evening, but for the great work that they do all year long to support the aviation industry and to encourage and recognize the women in the industry, because certainly aviation, like everything in life, is much better for the diversity that we see with women and all level of people of different walks of life. I would also like to say that in all the years that I've been in this industry, 33 years, certainly it was a male-dominated industry, and I have to thank NAV Canada and give kudos to NAV Canada for any time that we wanted to try to do something to promote women. They were always there to say, yes, you can, whatever you need, we're there behind you. But what I often found was that we were a group of women in a room together trying to promote women. And it dawned on me one day that what we were missing was the men in the room to listen to what we needed and what we wanted and what would make our lives better. So as I look around this room tonight, I'm happy to see that there are a lot of men there. And yes.
Yes, I think so.
And to say that these evenings are wonderful and this is a great success. I look here and I say this is an incredibly successful evening. But maybe our success in the future will be measured by when we don't feel the need for this kind of an event, when we don't need to recognize people for being different, that we are all just the same. And certainly this is moving us forward and things are changing and we need to continue to do it. But I see great things for the future, certainly from my beautiful children. They don't see quite the differences that we have seen before, but we need to continue to do what we're doing tonight. And I think we all need to work together to encourage not only women, but our youth. We have talked about the youth in this industry, that we need to continue to support them so that aviation continues to be a vital and viable force in the Canadian landscape. Thank you very much.